Good morning, Bucknutters. Welcome to the Bucknuts Morning 5 here on Friday, January 25th, 2019. I am Dave Biddle. Very happy to be joined by Jonah Booker for his usual Friday visit. JBook, as we all know, titles for football coaches, sometimes they can mean nothing. They can just be fancy titles, and sometimes they can be very telling. Ohio State, they finally made their football coaching staff, Ryan Day's first staff official the other day on Wednesday, and I found one thing interesting. I was waiting to see if Greg Mattison was going to have the title of just defensive coordinator, or if he might be co-defensive coordinator. And we knew Jeff Hafley was probably going to be co-defensive coordinator / DB coach, and that is what Jeff Hafley is. But Greg Mattison is co-defensive coordinator. That's it. Not defensive coordinator, co-defensive coordinator. So I found that interesting. Maybe there's nothing to it. But if there's one shot caller, if it came down to it, I know they're going to collaborate, JBook, but if it's Mattison or Hafley, if there's an ultimate kind of the main guy on defense, even if it's just by a little bit, who do you think that is?
I think it's going to be Greg Mattison who calls the shot there. You look at the titles, one thing that really stood out to me was Hafley's essentially going to be in charge of the entire secondary. Obviously, that's going to be a pretty big task at hand. In previous coaching staffs, Urban and as well as Jim Tressel, it was broken up between the safeties and the cornerbacks coaches, and they coach their specific group. And Hafley's pretty much going to be in charge over the entire secondary. So having that type of responsibility to me tells me that Greg Mattison is probably going to be the lead dog in there, especially considering he's not really designated a specific position group. So that's going to allow him to pretty much oversee the entire defense. Obviously, you mentioned the collaboration. You're going to see that is going to be minds coming together to try to figure out how they can make it work and put the guys in the best position possible. But I think at the end of the day, you're probably going to see Greg Mattison down on the field calling the shots there with Hafley potentially up in the press box. I just can't see Greg Mattison up in the press box, considering he's pretty much been on the sidelines his entire career.
We all know Ryan Day is an offensive coach, an offensive-minded coach, but while cleaning out my quote book, I did a story for the site yesterday on this. I found a really interesting quote from Ryan Day talking about defense. And, of course, every coach is going to say it's important. But, he said flat out, quote, "The plan to win is to play great defense, period." He didn't say, and offense. He did throw special teams in the quote a little bit, but he even left out offense. And obviously that was intentional. I think that he wants to put his stamp down and show that he's not just an offensive guy. But I really like this. Again, the plan to win is to play great defense. Are you buying that? Just what do you buy that he actually believes that? And just your thoughts on that quote, JBook.
I absolutely 100% buy into that, for the simple fact, look at what he's done as far as the coaching hires. He's pretty much cleaned house on the defense besides Larry Johnson.
Absolutely.
I know a lot of people ponder back and forth, maybe give Greg Schiano one more year or maybe elevate Alex Grinch. He wasn't having any of that. He was like, get out of here. You guys aren't performing to the expectations. And you mentioned that quote, and just paraphrasing one of his quotes when he was hired, he essentially said he wants a fast, aggressive defense that's simplistic, that allows his football players to play fast. And I thought a lot of times under Greg Schiano, he was trying to implement a scheme up front where guys weren't playing as fast. Guys were out of position quite a bit. And I think with the offensive brain power that they have and the talent that they have coming back, I have no doubt in my mind that the offense will put up points. The question that you need to ask is, can the defense get stops? I don't need the Ohio State defense to even be a top 10 defense. If they're even a top 25 defense, which means that they're going to provide the offense extra possessions and are getting off the field and eliminating the big plays, that's going to be huge for the program, because that's going to give Justin Fields and the offense more opportunities. And it's not going to put the pressure on them to have to score 55 and 49 points a game just to get out of there off the hair off their butt. So I look forward to the defense being vastly improved, and I take his word for it that the plan to win is to have a good defense.
And switching gears from coaching and philosophies and all that, Doug Nestor, the weekly question I'm going to pose to you about Doug Nestor. Just when I think that he's going to be a Buckeye, then his coach comes out and says, oh, it's, very, very equal between Virginia Tech and Penn State and Ohio State. Who knows? Maybe that's just posturing, or maybe he's speaking for Doug and saying things Doug wouldn't say. Who knows? But I don't know. My question is, what is Doug Nestor waiting for if he wants to be a Buckeye? I mean, there was a question of would there be a lot of change at Ohio State without Urban Meyer, and how would that go? It seems it's been pretty smooth. And then would they keep Stud? Well, they've kept Stud. And it's not like he's picking between Ohio State and Georgia. He's picking between, if he comes down to Ohio State and Virginia Tech and he picks Virginia Tech, I mean, hey, Virginia Tech's a great school and everything, but hey, I mean, it's further away from home for him. It's not as good of a program. I don't get it about Doug Nestor. I guess address that, and where do you think he's going to end up ultimately, JBook?
Yeah, we've talked about this the last couple of weeks now, and the thing that really troubles me, as you mentioned, is at one point it looked like Stud was headed to Maryland, and then the smoke was Nestor wanted to be attached to the hip of Stud, and with him potentially looking to go to Maryland. Now Nestor could be headed to Virginia Tech or Georgia or whoever else. Now that Stud's staying and he's still waffling kind of tells me that he's looking for a reason not to be at Ohio State. Essentially, the guy that you were really close to it and you wanted to play with is staying, but at the same time, your coach is coming out and saying all these other schools are equal, considering you have been committed to the program for so long and been committed to play for Stud, but all of a sudden now you're not sure. To me, he's looking for a reason. I think Ohio State is going to have to continue to recruit him hard, and at the end of the day, you don't know what's going to happen, considering this recruitment has went down different roads throughout the entire process. Will he make it out to be an Ohio State Buckeye? Who knows? But just continue to recruit him. He is a talent. You obviously want to have him in the fold, but right now it's very wishy-washy.
Another topic we've addressed before, but I do want to get your updated thoughts on, because fans love talking about running backs. Look at the 2019 core of running backs for the Buckeyes. J.K. Dobbins coming back, obviously, a chance to go over 1,000 yards for the third straight year. He'd be the only the second running back in Ohio State history to do that, other than Archie Griffin. Pretty good company. Demario McCall's just going to be a running back. That's, for anybody out there that hasn't heard that, Tony Alford has confirmed that. Demario McCall, just a running back, fourth-year junior. So he should, there should be some opportunities there. I know you mentioned the Alvin Kamara, role should be his. We're not saying he's as good as Alvin Kamara, but if he can even just have that type of role, or James White or whatever it might be, that'd be huge for Ohio State. Master Teague, and then the two incoming freshmen with Crowley and Chambers. Crowley's already enrolled. Marcus Crowley's already enrolled at Ohio State. So that five-man tandem, I shouldn't say five-man tandem, that five-man group, your thoughts on that group, JBook?
Yeah, obviously that JK is going to be the lead dog there. You're going to need him to really elevate his game for his junior campaign. If he has any desire to be a high draft pick, they're going to need more out of him. Obviously, the depth is a concern there, and I have mentioned it on Twitter. I would love to see them use Demario McCall in that Alvin Kamara role. I think he is a home run waiting to happen. If you look up, his stat line there, he's had 86 snaps from the line of scrimmage, and out of those touches, he's averaged the ball pretty much 8 yards a touch, 16.2 yards a reception. So he has a skill set to be a Swiss Army knife. I think if he's used properly, put him one-on-one against a Big Ten linebacker, he's going to make plays. You saw when Michigan put their all-world, all-Big Ten linebacker Devin Bush on him, and he made him look foolish. If you can use Demario McCall in a variety of ways besides trying to ask him to run up the middle, he can be very, very good at it. Now, Master Teague is a guy that I'm expecting to step up. He needs to really elevate his game. It was kind of disappointing that essentially Brian Snead was a late enrollee, and early on in the season, it was Snead who was out there getting the reps ahead of Master T, who had previously enrolled early and had a jump start on him. So there needs to be elevation of his play. I think it's going to be huge that Kroll is getting acclimated to the program right now. He's getting in Coach Mick's weight room. Right now, in today's college football world, freshmen are playing. We've seen it here with J.K. Dobbins. If he comes out and he absolutely balls, then you could see him getting some touches. Obviously, Ohio State's going to go with their veteran with J.K., but as far as having plenty of backup there, just having Crowley on campus and having him get acclimated to the program and what they want to do and how to prepare his body for a 16 game potential season, 15 game season, that's going to be something to keep an eye on. But I'm high on the running backs. I know a lot of people are kind of skeptical about the depth. I just think the talent is there. It's young talent behind J.K. Dobbins, but I think they have a pretty high ceiling to make things happen.
Great wisdom, as always, from Jonah Booker. Thank you very much, JBook. You can catch him on Twitter at JBook37. Thank you very much, Jonah Booker. And thank you very much to all the listeners out there for tuning into the show. I appreciate it. Hope everyone has a great day and a great weekend. Let's hear that Buckeye swag. Best damn band in the land.